This is the Epilogue audio experience.
The language and content on this podcast may be unsuitable for certain audiences. Listener discretion is advised. To all our brand new listeners, this is a weekly podcast where I, DreadIndian, talk about the craziest, funniest and weirdest news from around the world. People do some whacked out shit and I'm going to be highlighting those people's crazy antics. Welcome to episode 37 of the DreadIndian show. And who let the tiger out? Who? Why am I doing this 90s song? I'm sure most of the people listening to this podcast don't even know that. That's cause a Bengal tiger was let loose in a suburban neighbourhood in Texas. Wow. Also, a man disguised himself as a white guy to commit over 30 robberies. Interesting. A Malian woman gave birth to 9 babies. 9! And she's not even a cat. And finally, a brain-computer chip has been created to turn thoughts into text on a screen in real time. Okay, but going back to the first news, which is a tiger freely roaming a neighborhood in Texas. So the tiger was named, not surprisingly, India, because it was a Bengal tiger. And it's like, it's a very lazy way of naming your pet. Like, it's if you have a panda, I don't know whether it's legal to have a panda, you call a panda China. And if you have a kangaroo, again, I don't know whether it's legal to have a kangaroo, you call it Australia. That's lazy. Like, just be a bit more creative and, call it some other thing. Like, you can call, what names would I give to a tiger? I would... I don't know, like, you can't keep dog names for a tiger because the tiger will feel offended. He'll be like, hey man, come on. I'm like, I can take on like 5 to 10 pit bulls and, I'm like the king of the jungle. The lion is the king of the jungle, but the tiger is also like, somewhere there. So at least, I don't know. Can you give human names to a tiger? Can you call a tiger like, I don't know. Can you call him like a prince? I don't know. Prince would be a nice name. Prince sounds cool because he's not the king, but Prince. Bernard also sounds nice. Okay, whatever the name. Okay, if I had a tiger, I would name him something strong, something Hulk. I would call my tiger Hulk, and that sounds cool because he's strong, and yeah, he also can eat me. So I'm just imagining the owner of this tiger trying to search for the tiger in the neighborhood after the tiger gets lost, and he'll just be, or he or she will be going around saying India, India, India. And then suddenly, while they are doing this, an Indian actually walks in front of them and he just looks at them and calls the cops, and he's like, these guys are racist, man. They're doing and they're saying India, India in front of me. They're thinking like I'm a dog or something. So hopefully that didn't happen. But the scary news is that the tiger is yet not found. That's fucking scary. I'm scared of pit bulls because I've heard a lot of stories of pit bulls, but then when you see the videos on Facebook and stuff, pit bulls are cute, but when I see an actual pit bull, I've seen pit bulls maybe only thrice in my life, twice in Goa and once in Bombay, and both those times I've just held my hair on top because I've had a bad experience with dogs where there was a beagle, my boss's beagle came to the office and I was showing my hair. I was like, hey, this guy started pulling it, so I was half scared. And with a pit bull, I'm done. He'll just take my hair and it'll be ripped off my scalp. So that's the fear of a pit bull. I would be shooting bricks if you tell me that there's a tiger in the area. I would just sit at home, which again is, come to think of it, is a very good way of making people sit at home in the lockdown. You just need to tell them that there's a tiger in your area or there's a wild animal, and these guys will all stay home, and in that way the lockdown will be maintained and the spread of coronavirus will be reduced and everyone will be safe. But I don't know, people will still come out because they just want to chill. But I can imagine the fear that these people in this Texas neighborhood have, because like I said, I'm scared of pit bulls, but even more than pit bulls, there was once a monkey that was running loose in our area, and I actually just was walking home at that time, and that monkey was right in front of me, and this monkey was just 2 feet tall. But the reason I was scared was, now you can't communicate with a monkey like you communicate with humans, okay, or with a dog. This guy will just start scratching you and doing shit, and then nothing. Nobody is going to hold him accountable because cops are not going to take him and put him in jail. He's going to run the branches and just go away. So I'm scared of a monkey, a 2 feet monkey who can scratch my face and pull my hair and do other things to me. And imagine if a tiger comes in front of me, like, or a tiger comes in front of you guys. What would you guys do? That's not going to help. He'll be like, oh, nice sound. I hope he tastes nice as well. And who keeps a tiger as a pet? I mean, I understand there was that documentary Tiger King or something, and they have a tiger sanctuary. That's also, I mean, not acceptable because it's not good to keep tigers. But then again, there are zoos. Okay, let's not get into that. But having a tiger as a pet, I mean, it's a wild animal. Its instincts are to kill. So no matter how much you train it, yes, I mean, I've seen videos again on YouTube and stuff where, there's a trainer in South Africa and he plays with tigers and lions. But there's always a constant fear that, that this tiger can go tiger on you and he'll just bite a chunk out of you because he's not getting his food. So the first thing that you need to do is feed your tiger really well. But there are times you might, be lazy and you might forget to feed him or something, and then he's going to come to you for food. Not for you to give him food, but to make you food. So having a tiger is, I'm sorry, they do look cute when they are small, but having them as a pet, definitely not a thing that anybody should consider, unless you are that Tiger King and you have a sanctuary. So yeah, hopefully they find the tiger and this tiger doesn't like cause harm to anybody. But if people start missing from the area, then you know that the tiger is in action. And moving on to the next news, we have this man who disguised himself as a white guy to commit over 30 robberies, and but I assume he was just plain white because he didn't want to get shot by the cops. Okay, bad joke. But can you imagine the routine that this guy had to go through? Like generally when somebody robs, or it's not like I rob any bank or something, so I know what happens. You see it in the movies, and they put on a mask, like in that Spanish robbery thing. So they put on like a mask, or they put on like a black thing to cover their face and stuff, and glasses and all. This guy, just from what I saw, it was like a Halloween mask. Mike Myers. So how Mike Myers puts on that mask in the horror movie Halloween, this guy had a white mask like that with fake hair and stuff, and that's what he generally used to go out and do the robberies, and he was successful in 30 robberies. But when I saw the images of this guy, it just reminded me of the movie White Chicks, where the Wayne brothers are pretending to be these chicks, and they're like all like something happens at the beach, and I guess the ball hits them and they're like, hey man, what up? They go all like full dude on them, and then suddenly they realize that the girls that they are with are, they're like, no. Okay, that's a very good movie. So for the movie recommendation for the week, for people who have not seen it, similarly, the same people who have not heard Who Let the Dogs Out, firstly go listen to Who Let the Dogs Out by Bahaman, and then go and watch White Chicks, really funny movie by the Wayne brothers, and also a sitcom that I would like to suggest by the Wayne brothers. Two sitcoms actually. One is My Wife and Kids, and In Living Colors. So please go and check. The In Living Colors is something just like SNL. I think it was before the SNL or around the same time. Jim Carrey was part of it, so go and watch that. I think this news piece is becoming less of a news piece and more of a movie, show and song recommendation news. But thinking about the disguises that someone can do when performing a robbery, if I were to do it, which I touch wood, where's wood? Okay, I hope I never have to do a robbery, and I will never even do it. It's not a good thing to rob someone, because karma will come back to you. So I would kind of dress up like an old granny, like the babushka as they call it in Hungary, I guess, or in the Czech Republic. So like one of those old Hungarian grannies, with the 90s and everything, and with a hanky tied around the head, and with the bag in the hand, a handbag, and look very like harmless, and put on like fake pillows inside, look fat and stuff. But I think that would not be successful for me, because even if I wear a skirt, my dreads would be hanging behind, so the security cameras would catch the dreads. And let's be honest, but I think in Bombay I'm the only person who has like this long dreads, so I'll be caught eventually. So yeah, not a disguise that I would do. Actually, I think I shouldn't think about disguises like that. Just as you guys don't need to think about the 9 babies that you might ever have. But I think this Malian guy or the Malian father will have to think about it, because a Malian woman gave birth to 9 babies. 9 babies. And like I said before, she's not even a cat. So this lady, her name is Halma Sis RB, and 9 babies she gave birth to. I heard about the Octamom many years back. I think that was exactly 8 years back to be precise. And now suddenly you hear of this lady giving birth to 9 babies. I mean, what next? 10, 11, 12? I know that my grandmother had 8 kids, but that was 8 kids, in succession. not just in one shot. Like, how do you have 9 babies? Like, what are the chances of having 9 babies? And okay, you have 9 babies. Now what do you do? How do you take care of 9 babies? Like, I personally, I'm thinking that if I ever, have a family and stuff, I'll have only 1 kid, or 2 max to max. But 9, it's so difficult to take care of 1 kid. What about 9? Like, imagine 9 crying babies on a flight. 9 times, multiply that by 9 times. You'll not know what to do. How does the mom breastfeed the 9 kids? Does she outsource the breastfeeding? And what does the father buy? He definitely can't buy an SUV. He needs to buy a bus. But yeah, you have a field day when you're naming the kids. So you can just, 9 names. Yeah, see, there are so many problems that come up. There are 9 names, 9 birthday parties, 9 gifts. And do they all look the same? So twins. I have a lot of questions. So if this person was there with me right now, this Malian lady, I would interview her. Or maybe 5 years later to know, are you okay? 9 kids, and they already have a daughter. Imagine breaking the news. Generally, the kid is jealous because the younger sibling that is coming is going to take away all the attention. Just imagine the plight of this girl. She has 9 younger siblings coming who are going to take away all the attention. They're going to take away everything that the family has, all their life savings. So yeah, I think just like the elder sister or the daughter that they have is going to be sad, the father also. Hopefully, he is a military officer, a captain in the Malian army, so they give him some kind of, special aid, some kind of extra money to take care of 9 kids, because 9 kids is going to be a lot. Come on, education, blah, blah, toys, this, that, attention. So, I just pray that they kind of are able, I hope they are able to take care of these 9 babies and give them a really good future. And although this Malian father is saying that, it's a gift from God, which is, yes, every child is a gift from God, I would suggest you to just use a contraceptive going forward, because the next time you kind of have sex with your wife, you never know, you might just have 10 babies, and that's going to be really tough on you. So yeah, contraception is what you need to use. And finally, moving on to the last news piece, a brain computer chip has been created to turn thoughts into text on a screen in real time. So basically, this technology will let people with paralysis perform thought dictation at rates approaching the thumb speeds of texters. So what they did was, there was a patient who was paralyzed, and they put electrodes in his head. Electrodes were implanted, and through some technology, he was able to type words just by thinking about them. Eventually, these electrodes will become chips, because you can't just put electrodes into people's head and just make them walk around, because it will look weird. So yeah, I'm assuming the electrodes are hanging outside, but yeah, the electrodes will be put in. But I'm assuming an easier way to go forward for this for paralyzed patients is chips, because I just got hungry. Chips, Lay's. But if this technology becomes normal, they might even Elon Musk was talking about Neuralink. So those chips are obviously for other purposes, but then there will also be these chips where people can just implant it in their head, so they can kind of just text people just by thinking, because who wants to sit and type stuff nowadays? It's 2021, and it'll be later in 2030. You would just people want to get as lazy as possible. So yeah, I'll just think about my text, and I'll type it out. But there are a lot of flaws with this technology. The first flaw is, generally, you think and type. Here, whatever you think is being typed. So, there are times when you write something and then you're like, oh, no, I don't think so, I should write this. Then you delete it. In this case, you think something, you write it. And what if the delete function in your head is not working? You're like, delete. But it doesn't work, because maybe your brain doesn't delete it that way. I don't know. That can be one issue, that you type something. Basically, you just speak your heart out. So if you want to tell your boss something like, hey, sir, I'm not feeling well today. I can't come into work because I have, diarrhea. But because, you're just thinking stuff, and, your brain just is thinking stuff at the same time while you want to write a false excuse. You might just write to your boss like, hey, you know what? Fuck you. I just wanted to take the day off because I'm tired and I wanted to sleep, and just binge watch Jim Carrey movies and have chips. So that is something that can happen. And also, I don't know whether this happens with you guys, but sometimes when you're talking bad about somebody, or you're making a joke about someone, a mean joke, and you want to actually send that to your friend, but just because that person's name is in your head, you end up writing that joke to that person. So you end up sending the mean joke about that person to that person. It has happened to me twice. Now, I don't know whether this is something that happens only to me or even to you guys. If it has happened to you guys, please mention that below. And so these are the two flaws that I see with this brain chip with which you can just type stuff. But other than that, if this technology becomes normal, great. But I would still want to just type stuff. And I'm like an old school guy, so I would love to I don't want anything in my brain. Trust me, I don't want a surgery on my head. I'm fine. Yes, let's leave it to that. And on that very note, we come to the end of episode 37 of the DreadIndian show. I hope you guys had a great time listening to the podcast. Please take care of yourselves and please keep following the lockdown rules that your respective countries have laid down, and social distance, use masks. Just let this COVID shit get out of the way so we can start living life in normal and have fun. I need to go out and do my stand-up. I'm fed up of cracking jokes with my family because they don't laugh at my jokes anymore. So anyways, you guys have a great weekend and keep smiling.
Congratulations, you are a lucky listener who will win 1,000 US.
Why would anyone win $1,000 just for listening to a podcast? But thank you for listening to the DreadIndian show. And if you guys like the podcast, make sure you subscribe on the Epilogue Media website or your favorite podcast streaming apps such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, JioSaavn, or any other streaming app that you use. If you use Apple Podcasts, do rate and review the DreadIndian show. It helps other people discover the podcast. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pornhub? No, not on Pornhub yet. But you can follow me on all these social medias at DreadIndian. So, sexy people, see you next week. Take care and keep smiling.